Okay. Welcome to the Mediacurrent Contrib Half-Hour. Today we're going to have a look at a Contrib First mantra. It is December already. The year is ticking away, and here in the northern hemisphere, it's winter. Fun times. So, well, fun if you like the snow. So today's agenda, we're going to do some housekeeping as always. Then we'll look at what open source software is, then why you'd want to contribute to open source software, what a Contrib First mantra is, and then a quick review. So, housekeeping. As always, my name is Damien McKenna. I'm community lead at Mediacurrent. I'm actively involved in the Drupal community, and you might recognize me as that guy with the bunny ears who hops around the issue queues. My time is sponsored by Mediacurrent. We're a full-service digital agency that implements world-class open-source software development strategy and design to achieve defined goals for enterprise organizations seeking a better return on investment. And we really like Drupal. So next week, we're having a general Q&A. Then we'll have a testing lab. We won't have a meeting on the 27th because I'm going to be taking some end-of-year vacation. And I haven't decided yet what we're going to do in January. I have some details to work out for the new year. So let's start off with what is open source software? Open source software is software where the source is open. Ta-da! And really, you know what this stuff is already. So it is things like Drupal, Apache HTTP web server, Apache Solr, Linux, Git, WordPress, on and on and on and on, Symfony, Nyancat. Yes, there's a Nyancat program that is open sourced that runs in your terminal so that you can have Nyancat anytime you want it and just leave it running. And it's animated, and it's pretty amazing. So I think everybody knows at this point. Everybody here knows what open source software is. So why should you contribute to open source software? I'm given 5 reasons today. 1, selfishness. 2, laziness. 3, enjoyment. 4, altruism. And then 5, community. So selfishness really because you want somebody else to fix the bugs. You want somebody else to write the documentation and create the tutorials and do the usability research and do the things that you could do, but just really feeling really selfish. You want somebody else to do that. And you're feeling lazy. You don't want to have to fix all the bugs. You don't have to write all the documentation and write all the tutorials and do all of the research and do everything. But there's some enjoyment in doing some of the work. And it can be fun to do some of the fixes. And it can be fun to do some of the documentation. So all these things that you could do, that you know how to do, you don't have to feel like you have to do it all. But you can do some of it. And it can be a very altruistic thing to realize, hey, I fixed this bug in a module and it benefits Habitat for Humanity or Doctors Without Borders. Don't ask me to pronounce the French name. My French pronunciation is kind of crap right now. It's been a long time since I tried to pronounce French properly. But you get the idea. There are these socially beneficial organizations that are using the same tools we're using day in, day out. And if we fix a thing in the tools and we upload it and it gets committed, these other very beneficial organizations can benefit too. If you fix a security bug in a module that you're using, these sites could avoid having their sites hacked into. So, and then there's this community aspect, that a community that works together, fixes things together, writes documentation together, does the usability research together. It's me, it's you, it's all of us. It's all of us doing a small piece and collaboratively doing more. As the saying goes, a rising tide lifts all boats. So if everybody contributes a bit, everybody benefits. So what's a Contrib First mantra? Short version is, the cavalry is not coming, you're the cavalry, act accordingly. Another way of looking at it is to don't repeat yourself. And so start with a question. Could I use this again? Could I use this pattern-based design approach to a theme again? Could I use this schema.org metadata definition again? Could I use this documentation again? If I'm writing documentation that somebody asked for, could somebody else use it? So work through these steps. First thing is the question, could I use this again? Or could somebody else use it again? Then avoid repeating yourself. Then contribute to open source. Start now and allow time for follow-up. So could I use this again? Obviously, code is a big factor here. Could I use this code again? Could I use this plugin again? But things like documentation. I had an example where a client wanted to know how to sign up for the Twitter API, and so they could hook up their website to Twitter. And it's a somewhat involved process for somebody who's not very technical. So I took the small amount of extra steps of creating it as a documentation page on Drupal.org instead of just sending them an email with screenshots. Mostly the same amount of work, only it was reusable. And then sent the client a link to this page, and it was helpful. And then other people, other organizations can benefit from it too. Writing a tutorial, if you're doing a webcast explaining how to do something, make it publicly available too. If you're doing an accessibility review of something, is this review general enough that could be beneficial to other people? If you're doing a review of the administrative functionality of a site, most likely it's using an existing contributed theme, maybe some minor cosmetic changes, but most Drupal sites use an existing admin theme. If you're doing an accessibility review of that, the improvements could benefit many others. So that's the first step. The next thing is avoid repeating yourself. You're not going to want to have to write the same bug fix more than once. You're not going to want to write the same plugin more than once. You're design the same UI widget more than once. Write the same documentation more than once. The next step is, once you work out something, contribute it to the appropriate open source project and communities. Upload it at the very least, so in 6 months' time, a year time, maybe even 5 years later, you have somewhere that you've publicly documented or uploaded, whatever this is, for you to find. And then potentially others will find it too and be able to benefit and improve upon it too. But start now. When you come across something, don't wait until later. Don't wait until the nebulous, well, after the project is finished, or after I make this perfect. I don't want to be seen to not have a perfect solution first time out the box. Start off small, start with what you have. Everybody people will forgive typos, mistakes, etc. It can all be improved over time. That's the collaborative nature of it. Because delaying usually leads to duplicate effort. If you decide, well, I'm going to wait until I have this finished and worked out properly, who knows, maybe somebody else will be thinking the exact same thing, and you'll end up with duplicate efforts. That could have been instead 2 different people collaborating to make one better solution. You might forget later, or you might run out of time and be pulled onto another project. If it's part of your day-to-day process, you'll get it out to others and be able to, everybody will be able to benefit sooner. And try to allow time for follow-up time, so that not only follow up on past work, but so follow up on all of the comments people have posted, all of the pull requests, patches, typo fixes, whatever it may be. But you need a bit of time to follow up on that. And then that leads to some maintenance work of, well, if you release a project, you might need to compile a new release. So a release version 1, now we need to pull in all of these fixes, make sure it's all happy in the release version 2 or 1.1, however it is. And there might be people who are looking for help that you could just quickly reply with some feedback, some suggestions, maybe some requests for additional help. But you need that bit of time to follow up. So in short, try and approach your work with a Contrib First mantra. And yes, be lazy. Be lazy for your future self of not wanting to have to fix the same thing twice, document the same thing twice, etc., etc. And be altruistic. Consider that there are tons of really socially beneficial organizations that can benefit from you doing a bug fix on something, or writing documentation, or doing a video tutorial on how to do a certain thing, and try to make time available for follow-up work. So that's it for today. A little short, so we have time for discussions and stuff if anybody wants to, if anybody has questions about this or would like to look into something else. We have plenty of time. Otherwise, we can leave it for next week when we have a general Q&A. Feel free to write in the channel or the chat, or just unmute yourself if you'd like to talk about something.
Hey, Damien, I got a question for you.
Sure.
How can, specifically in Drupal, Contrib maintainers make it easier to onboard co-maintainers or people who are looking to really help contribute on a project?
So one of the best ways, in my opinion, is to make sure that you have automated testing set up and that you work on test coverage, because there's nothing worse than somebody coming along and committing something and breaking the dev snapshot because they didn't test it fully. It can be very demoralizing for somebody, for a new maintainer, especially if they're new to contributing or maintaining as a whole. So having test coverage to help alleviate that potential can be very useful. Otherwise, I think it's very useful to reach out and talk with people directly to discuss ideas around what you'd like to do with the project, where you'd like to take it, what features you want to do, et cetera, et cetera. So communication is good. And then if they're new to contributing as a whole, try take some extra time to review their work from the point of view of helping make sure they know the different processes and things, and know to, for example, follow the coding standards and things. There are a lot of little nuances in the Drupal community, and a lot of people don't know the nuances, so helping them through that is good. A good question. Anybody else? All right, well, otherwise, hope everybody has a fantastic week, and we'll see you back here, same Drupal time, same date, and we'll get into some general Q&A. Take care, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.